Do you hate lobs? Most people answer yes to that question, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. And it's because when the lob goes up, most people stand there and watch the ball and then say mine or yours. That's a very reactive way to look at the lob. And in most cases, you can't get to the lob. You're not able to run it down. You're reacting so slow to the ball that most of the time it just goes over your head, and both of you and your partner just look at each other and say, oh, great lob, or oh, you should have had that, or oh, sorry, that was mine. But instead, there's a much better way to look at the lob and be proactive in the way that you go at it so that you can move back and hit an offensive overhead and not be susceptible to that lob and feel like it's a weakness of yours. Because we've all played against those players that just love to lob. And the only way to shut that down for good is to be able to be proactive and hit the overhead so that you are not going to have that as a weakness. This all starts with the split step. You and your partner should be working together as a team. And when your opponent hits the ball, you guys should be split stepping, and you know this. And then you both should be reacting to the ball and really making sure that you're making that first move, and it's both of you making the first move. And this is the mistake that most of us have when we're playing doubles, is that you see the lob come up and all of a sudden you both split step, but then you both kind of just stand there and then decide, oh, okay, it's mine. Oh, no, I can't get it. And by that time, you're being reactive and you can't actually get to the ball. If you're looking straight up at the ball, it's too late to call yours or be able to switch or anything. And then you're just running back and trying to chase down the ball in a defensive way. But the way to change all of that and be offensive and be able to move back and hit an overhead is that when both of you see the ball coming up, you split step and then you both react like you're going to move to the ball. So let's take an example here between when we were playing player court last year in March out in Palm Desert. And this is a really good example here of Ian and Kevin both seeing the ball coming off Scott's racket right here. The ball comes up. They both recognize it's going to be a lob. You saw the split step right here. And now watch both of them react. Both of them make a move towards where the ball is going, right there. That move is going to put them in a position to be able to go for the ball. And you can see here, again, split step lands, and they both move towards the direction of the ball and then communicate who's going to get the ball. And then Kevin retreats and goes back to a more defensive position to cover the court, and Ian's in position to hit a forehand from around the baseline area. Now, if they were not to initiate at the same time, this was a great lob by Scott. So there's no way that Ian would have been able to be in a calm and controlled position and balanced position to hit a forehand. He would have had to be running back and hit the ball behind him in a defensive lob mode, which would have, again, put them way more on the defense. The next example you're going to see here is they both split step. Again, they're seeing that Scott is going to lob. They land the split step here, and then watch. They both initiate the turn. Now remember, Ian is left-handed, Kevin is right-handed, so they're turning actually in opposite directions. But you can see Ian's outside foot and Kevin's foot is moving and drop stepping in a position to where either one could hit the overhead and either one could move back to be able to handle the lob in a more offensive way. Now, after that, then they call the ball, and we see Kevin's going to be able to hit the overhead, and now they're in control of the point. Without both of them initiating, you would be relying on your partner to hopefully be able to run down the ball. And that's a very reactive way to look at the lob. And that's why most people fear the lob, and they absolutely hate getting in a situation where their opponent is lobbing constantly. Before we get into the last example that I'm going to show you, remember we have so much information on doubles and lobs, anticipating, the 4 P's of anticipating, which are critical to being able to hit the overhead, how to move back to the overhead, and so much more inside our academy. You can get a free membership right now at www.essentialtennisacademy.com. Go check it out. So now this last example that I'm going to show you is, you can see that Nate is very stretched out and that he's going to lob. Right now, if you look at Ian and Kevin, they're going to land their split step, and the very first thing they're going to do is take the drop step, both of them. You can see that they're now in a drop step position. It is not waiting to see where the ball is going to go. It's being proactive, making sure you're split stepping and you're drop stepping, regardless of whether you end up hitting the overhead, or you end up running back for the ball, or you end up struggling to even hit a backhand overhead. Whatever the case is, you need to be proactive by thinking the ball is coming to you. Then from here, you're going to see that they communicate that Kevin's going to get the ball, and Ian actually ducks down so Kevin has the rest of the court, and they go after it. So that put them in a position to now hit a offensive ball out of the air, instead of both of them looking at each other and letting the ball go over and losing the point, or even be in a defensive position as you're running backwards. If you want to conquer the lobs and never be afraid of the opponent that lobs constantly, this is how you can do that, by being proactive and understanding that you always split step and you always drop step and you always think that the ball is coming to you, and then you can communicate together as a doubles team. It's about working together as a team that is critical for your doubles success.